updated or tweaked for that next round of hardware. It has a great deal of weight to carry thanks to the game's art style,
we were like,
strong specular highlights, contrasting tones,
we're just
thin lines,
watching
and
this 50 minutes. And yeah, hello everyone, welcome again.
It delivers a confident equilibrium of maintaining texture detail sharpness, but
PlayStation State of Play,
temporal stability,
February
even in
25th,
movement, something you do a great deal of.
Now I'm excited
with some
for this. I'm sorry, the angle, like, the light right now, the light is burning me alive.
The nature of the ray tracing reflections can be noticed here in photo mode, or just look at it in glass. You notice that trail as you move the camera.
The screen.
That resolution breaks down to its base, and then when you stop, it catches up, and that previous frame converges with the current frame into a fuller, cleaner object.
We're just waiting a few minutes.
Similar in the rasterized image also that uses that temporal AA to reconstruct the image back up to 4K. The ray tracing is very effective. A combination of surface normals, microfacet distortion, with a good roughness cut off using stochastic samples in marble, metals, and surfaces. Something the lower ray
join me
consoles
on
can
the
actually
reaction.
help with at times, making the surface look more realistic with a little rougher, more diffuse surface level than the higher, shinier level on PC with its better quality reflections. But even the Fresnel, the expensive Fresnel in transparent reflections, is factored in, with oblique glancing angles heightening her reflection and then fading away into the objects behind as that angle of incidence is reduced. They look great, and the BV8 structure does hold a great deal of objects. They're all dynamic.
Yeah, it's only just the first choice, so if you want to join this reaction,
objects is also
I am going to put the link
accurate distortion. You can see this on chairs, bins, and every reflective surface that has a specular level above a certain roughness reflects everything around. And this helps with things like bounce lighting or the floor bouncing on tables and metal legs and chairs. Now, these can be cooled within a shorter range of the camera frustum, and occasionally are loaded without a base albedo map within, but these are rare objects within the BVH. The blend of the reflective surface diffuse color also factors into that reflection, which all adds to the excellent physically based materials the game has.
I can't really against stream to have
time to notice.
Sucks.
I must note though, the SX
has my restream
on that BVH level being lost when it appears to be frustum aligned, causing your character to disappear at points or flutter past like an 80s pop video.
10 or 12 minutes
present. I tried this on the PS5, but it never occurred. So it seems to be specific to the DXR API the Xbox uses and not an inherent Northlight engine issue. I also tested this on PC, and the other issue you can notice here is you get dual reflections on the PS5 in these ray trace reflections on glass when there is two surfaces, the glass itself at the front and then those brass strips behind. So you get a double reflection in this mirror. You do not get that on the Xbox or even the PC version. So again, that does point to a little difference in terms of how they're utilizing the Northlight engine and the specific API that's being used on the PS5 around ray tracing. But generally, they are very similar across the board. And as you can see with the reflections here, the PC version on the same medium settings, which I've compared here with my RTX 2070 overclocked, so it's more like a 2070 Super. The level of detail, the draw distance of those BVH objects, everything is pretty much identical. The only difference is PC version runs at a higher resolution, probably around double, but it's hard to spot in action when you're staring into the screen. That breakdown as the camera moves is obviously less apparent. To wrap this section up, we can actually have a quick test using the photo mode for that ray trace reflections on the consoles. When you go to photo mode,
10 minutes,
so we can see beyond that 30 FPS.
If you want to join this,
this mode has.
Use this little link. Use this link if you want to join my stream. Want to join and watch it with me.
Objects in the background gives us a delta test. Don't take this as gospel, but it is a test. What you can see here is that this scene, spinning the camera around in the same spot in this room, the Series X holds a locked 60, not dropping one single frame. Whereas the PS5 can dip somewhere between 16% and 5% delta as the camera moves around. Now remember, this is not the same as playing the game. There's no dynamic objects, there's no explosion, no CPU load at all really. There's no data being streamed in and out, so it's not really indicative of how the game would look. But on a pure rasterization and then ray tracing level, it does give us a view under the hood in terms of how the hardware is handling ray tracing, and that's because the more CUs and more TMUs, irrespective of clock speed, does point to the fact that the Series X should be better slightly at ray tracing, and this test proves it. But again, there's more to discuss around the APIs, the construction, and just how the ray tracing is working.
This is gotta be excited for
just a quick comparison as well, comparing to my 2070 Super. Again, on the same settings I can compare with consoles. Again, those reflections spinning the camera around in photo mode in the exact same spot. Then the PS5 is slightly faster than the 2070 Super, and the Series X is obviously faster than both. So it does give you a good example of just how good these consoles are already in doing ray trace reflections across multi-platform titles like this.
But yeah, I'm gonna
call me Jesse. Okay, Jesse, full lockdown. It seems to have spread.
I'll be right back. Well, for now, I'm just gotta watch this. I'm so sorry, but yeah.
You are the director,
enjoy.
And that makes you special by definition. Trench is dead. Shot.
Worth it though in comparison to the other modes, higher frame rate and much faster input times. And obviously on the S, this is all you've got. Well, it will depend on your preference. Once ray tracing is off, the game defaults to screen space reflections, which often seem more stochastic than the ray trace ones do, and they do not benefit as much from that TAA. In action, though, it can be harder to notice the loss, with only certain points in the game which lack those decent cube maps to fall back on. These can stand out at times. Now, instead, the game uses assigned distance fields, almost like a point cloud approximation of the surrounding geometry, and these blend with the SSR reflections on rougher marble floors or brushed metal doors. And they actually come close enough to convince. But when you need to check your hair and lippy, they do not hold a candle to ray tracing, obviously. And again, though, like Quantum Breaker, like Combat, it really benefits from that 16 millisecond
just like Matt,
reduction, as do the input times. That 60 mode feels so much better than ray tracing mode, and at times I actually struggle to play over the 60 mode, as it may or may not affect you, though this might be different for you personally, but for me, I definitely felt the difference. Which nicely brings us into performance and how all versions stack up. Now, as noted, the last gen versions target the same 30 FPS the ray trace mode does, but with lesser effects and no ray tracing. The new ray tracing mode on both consoles is vastly better and cleaner. That much better on
7 minutes off, guys.
Holding that 33 millisecond frame time
7 minutes
all the time
7
on PS5. And it does that most of the time on the Series X, except there are those deltas coming from those streaming stutters when you move into new sector points rather than in gameplay, although sometimes it can happen as you're moving around the combat. Now, this is obviously largely helped by the PS5's I/O construction. It's alleviated workloads away from the CPU and that SSD. Something else the PS5 boost is almost
Doggo's live right now doing
thanks to
He's live.
It only takes 25 gigabytes on the PS5 versus 42 gigabytes on both Xbox machines. Now, all versions include the DLC pack as well, and this translates to a smaller footprint, hardly any stutters at all, or practically none, with minor ones, but they can crop up more often than I would like on the Xbox, along with slightly faster loading times on the Xbox Series X. Again, minor, but every little helps. But as boring as that 30 FPS mode is from an analysis perspective, it's great news for us as we play. You do get these stutters in the 30 mode and the 60 mode on the Series X, and I'll touch on what I think is happening there in a minute. But the 60 FPS mode has slightly more to discuss, not least of which is that Series X version. The game itself targets 60 FPS, but again, it's locked at 1600.
I doubt they'll do that. I doubt they won't present that on
not a massive amount, but you can certainly notice it on cutscenes in certain parts when you're comparing them side by side. You can also notice the lower resolution, so it highlights the shimmer, the breakup.
If you guys want to join again,
can get a little bit noisy.
Use this. I think it's old or
resolution on a 4K screen. It's
not
much more than a
still the same
one, but just be aware. But generally, it holds on to that 60 FPS very, very well.
Yeah, you guys can leave me one.
Occasionally, the stutter is pretty much identical.
It's almost here, 5 minutes away.
Sometimes better, but it's really synonymous of the entire game engine running on the hardware and how it's been constructed. The Series S is a pretty consistent 60. There are points when you can have long views, lots of geometry draw and alpha effects that can then bring that frame rate down to a consistent 40 at some of the heavier points you can see on screen, but it never really prolongs for too long, and generally you're somewhere in those mid-50s, so it still feels very fast, very smooth, and very consistent. And overall, it's a decent rendition of the game, minus those ray trace options, but it still has that most important for me, that 60 FPS mode.
5 minutes. Let's start. I'm excited for this. The boys ready. I got my pet playing it so I can scream. That cool stuff that's got to be shown.
Moving into the Series X and the PS5, the comparison here, again, is pretty
4 minutes.
They have largely dipped, occasionally very, very minor 33 millisecond skips into the next refresh cycle when explosions happen close on, or physics collide, or objects are very heavy in the screen, and that frustrum is filled with effects, alphas, and transparencies. That can cause a couple of...
I don't know why.
But they're not that far apart in this fully rasterized mode. Maybe ever so slightly better to the Series X, but you wouldn't notice it outside this comparison. The unfortunate thing, flipping the ray tracing test on its head, is there is consistent stutters and jitters at points throughout the game. Again, consistent in the when you traverse the game when you run through it. Most of the combat sections, once they're loaded in, stay consistent at that 60 FPS. When you're traveling through areas, you can get these consistency here. And that can bring the frame rate down to somewhere into the low 40s. It can be very brief and it judders as it goes through those sections. And again, this can be frustrating at times if you sometimes get it compounded on top of each other, and you feel it far more often than these 1 or 2 frame drops throughout combat. So it is the worst performing title because of the fact it dips down in these levels, which is a shame. But why is it doing this? Now, it's not because of that magic SSD. It's not because of all of those things that I've just spoke about in terms of the IO construction specifically. Now, what I think it is an answer we can find over on the PC version. The Northlight engine is a very impressive engine. It's almost a perfect technical showcase of all the things the tech engineers want to push into a title. Ray trace reflections, huge physics, destruction, fluid-based simulation on alpha effects, so many particles and much more going on. That actually, it's still a CPU title often, specifically in those ray tracing modes, because that puts a much higher overhead on the CPU, but also in the game itself, it can be bound to one single thread. Not an unknown, many titles are multi-threaded, but you have a worker thread that owns the rest of the game engine. And here on PC, you can see on my Ryzen 2700, just defaulting here to 3300, you can see it can max out 100% at times on one single thread. Now, unless Remedy have made drastic changes to this construction and single-threaded limitation, which I highly doubt in the new Northlight release here, then it's probably an issue that carries over to console versions. But because of that PS5
I'm having work for school today. I'm having schoolwork today, so yeah, I'm
is actually taken away from the CPU. In addition to the API being slightly lighter on that console than the DirectX version on Xbox, then likely these issues are not hitting it where they are hitting it on the Series X and the Series S. Hence, we get these brief but occasional stutters that crop up when things are instantiated into RAM,
Twitch on
areas are closed off for keyboards, and that's standard practice of engines to keep data moving freely in and out of RAM, and there is a cost to that. Now, bearing in mind that when you use ray tracing, that also increases the cost of the CPU. So that BVH grid, of objects that are in different boxes that are then scanned when the ray tracing goes out from the screen.
Things that we add on
the game. So if we take the comparison earlier on the photo mode, it had no load on the game at all. Just general ray tracing rationalization loads perfectly. And this is the thing about the game. It's a great example of how different areas. You can lose 16, maybe 20% in that ray trace modes on the PS5, but you can lose exactly the same 16, 20% in these points when it's loading data in and it's quite refreshing game that enables you to get a good view into the hardware and how it's constructed. But generally, that 60 FPS mode on all consoles is the one that I would choose. I'm not a big fan of the art style. I think it's a bit dull. I don't think it utilizes the ray trace reflections very well. And it's one of the reasons why I wouldn't recommend the ray trace reflections for me, because I don't think they stand out unless you're staring into the screen and looking at them. But if you are a fan, I think there's a secret third option here for Remedy to just turn on. Based on our test previously between the consoles and PC, I think a 1080-60 mode would be perfectly capable on both machines, with likely a very similar performance metric to that rasterization mode. But if you want to run around, shoot things, pick objects up, and then check your lippy, it might be the perfect compromise to get the most out of Control. If you like this and these deep dives into these performance analysis across consoles and that powerful PC, then obviously keep it IGN, and I'll catch you on the next one.
Okay. Okay, starting. Show starting. The show is starting. FNAF. Give us FNAF first. Okay. Okay.
There's some very unexpected developments in your future.
Is it a racing? What?
Shocking events that will change the course of your life.
That last part might have been a hair dramatic, but there's lots of awesome updates and additions.
Is it a
coming
DLC?
to the Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time experience on PlayStation 5. Hey everyone, I'm Lou Studdard, creative producer at Toys for Bob. I'm here to give you the feature rundown on Crash Bandicoot 4 on PS5. That includes 4 frames per second, adaptive triggers, 3D audio, and more.
Let's make this fun.
Picking up where Crash Bandicoot Warp left off, in Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time, we find the evil masterminds Neocortex and Dr. Entropy escaping a once-thought inescapable interdimensional prison, leaving giant holes in the universe. What follows is a mind-bending adventure for Crash and his marsupial pals. We designed Crash Bandicoot 4 to leap off your screen, brimming with bold, vibrant environments and characters. Crash Bandicoot has always looked pretty suave, but wait until you see him spinning heads in native 4K at 60 frames per second.
Okay.
With the weight of the universe on your shoulders, and probably some errands to run, there's little time to wait on loading
That's low
screens.
times. Nice.
The DualSense wireless controllers bring adaptive triggers to your fingertips, so you can feel the blast of Neocortex's DNA change ray gun, or feel the grip when you grapple a Tana's hookshot. Hold on tight when you feel the boost of Crash's jetboard, and really feel the suck when you vacuum his Dingo Dial. Looking to get fully immersed in the Crash Bandicoot universe? Crank it up to 11 and take your audio into an all-new dimension with enhanced 3D audio. Achieving the infamous 106% completion is the sign of a true Bandicoot master. But should our genetically mutated marsupial lose his way, leverage PlayStation 5 activity cards to track your progress and hit your goals for things like time trials, flashback levels, and boss fights. I bet Entropy wishes he had that. Even bring your incomplete save over from the PlayStation 4 and use the activity cards to get to 106%.
That's cool.
Oh, and one more thing. If you own the PS4 version of the game, an upgrade option is available. Check out the PlayStation blog for full details. Whether it's your first playthrough or your 100th, there's no better time to experience Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time on PlayStation 5.
Okay. Our second. Okay.
Welcome back, Crash. The gang's all here on today's new edition of State of Play. We've got some great updates lined up for you.
FNAF.
First, let's check out the latest on an eagerly anticipated game coming to the PS5 console this spring from PlayStation Studios.
Okay, that's not bad.
Hey everyone, we at Housemark are excited to give you this sneak peek at Returnal. In Returnal, you will play as Celine, an Astra scout, who crash lands on an alien planet, Atropos, after receiving a mysterious signal, White Shadow. Players will explore this inscrutable, dark planet in search for answers and unfold mysteries, which may point to a larger force at play. Dashing and quickly maneuvering your way above and around enemies is key to survival in Returnal. With the large variety of enemies and the vast number of unique movesets each possess, combat situations prove challenging no matter what the circumstances are. Death is only the beginning. Every time you die and restart, the world will change. The map will be different, enemies will appear in new locations and in differing numbers.
Really?
You have to think fast and adapt. Here you can see the use of the lightning alt fire, which is great for crowd control. This is one of many alt fires that you can acquire in the game. You will stumble across mysterious devices that can grant rewards to the player. These will vary from weapons, consumables, and upgrades, and it can completely change your playstyle and make each cycle feel unique. Besides the intense combat, Returnal also has a deep and engaging narrative.
Nice.
We allow players to piece together the puzzle that is the story of Celine as they venture deeper and deeper into Atropos and into her personal nightmare.
That can't be here.
I think I am reliving my memories in that house, but not fully. They're corroded. Some parts missing, others seem manufactured. But I can remember the torment, feeling like I was losing my mind. There's no comfort here. No safe space.
That house is an evil looking.
Exactly as I left it.
Okay. That's kind of a good start.
Returnal lands on April 30th, and it's developed by the talented team at Housemarque. Next, let's take a closer look at a high-impact new PS4 game called Knockout City.
Oh my god, that game. This game. That game I saw on the Nintendo Direct. Yep, this game we're talking about.
Hi, I'm Josh from Bellin Studios. We're an indie developer based in upstate New York, and we recently announced Knockout City, a team-based multiplayer action game for PS4 where rival crews settle their scores with epic dodgeball battles. Knockout City is easy to pick up and play, but there's a lot of depth here for those who've got the skills. In our 1v1 face-off mode, you'll go head-to-head in a constantly shrinking battleground, relying on your reflexes and abilities to knock out an opponent. A well-timed catch powers up the ball, making it easier to land a hit. Use trick shots to lob a ball over a ledge or hook it around a corner.
Okay. Oh, this is definitely like a tournament
timing,
like
knock them out before
game.
they can recover. When you're in a tough spot with a ball flying your way, a last-second dodge is the difference between getting knocked out and staying in the fight. Keep your wits about you and outplay your opponent to bring home a win.
Fortnite.
Let's jump into Team KO, our 3v3 mode. Teamwork makes the dream work in Knockout City. If your crew is outmatched, a well-coordinated team can still dominate. We're playing in Back Alley Brawl, a new map that you'll find in our upcoming crossplay beta. The special ball for this match is the Sniper Ball, which locks onto targets from far across the map and wham! You can take them out before they have a chance to react. Beyond special balls, each map features a unique mechanic. In Back Alley Brawl, you can hop into a tube and make a quick getaway or use them to sneak up on your opponents.
Oh, that's good.
Caught
Interesting.
empty-handed? You can literally become the ball, a new weapon for your teammate.
That's weird.
Or risk it all. Charge up a teammate, launch them high into the air with an ultimate throw, and they'll land in a huge instant KO explosion.
Wow.
The team here at Velen has been obsessed with building this world over the last 4 years. Knockout City is coming out May 21st, and we'd love your help in our final stretch of development. Rally your crew and sign up for our crossplay beta at knockoutcity.com to play early on PlayStation. See you soon, Brawlers.
Okay, that was cool. I was definitely thinking of doing that. But yeah.
Time for something new. Here's your first look at an upcoming PS5 game from the team at Slow Clap.
Oh, well, still Steel. Slow clap. I'm still copying. What's this? No blood, boo. From no blood. Okay, I see them. Oh, cool. What the? Oh, hold.
That was the debut of Sifu, coming to the PS5 console later this year. Now let's get an update on Solar Ash, an epic new PS5 adventure from Heart Machine.
Hey everyone, I'm Alex Preston, creative director of Heart Machine. You might know us as the team behind Hyperlight Drifter. Today, I'm here to show you the first peek at gameplay for our new title, Solar Ash. Solar Ash is a huge, stylish 3D platformer focused on speed, movement, and fluidity. The game is set inside a giant black hole known as the Ultra Void, which has been consuming everything in its path. You play as Ray, a daring void runner who has decided to venture into this terrifying anomaly as a last-ditch effort to save her home. Ray is extremely agile, able to speed across the world with abilities akin to skating. On the ash and clouds, she can quickly cover great distances in our huge world. At its core, Solar Ash is a game about movement, and Ray has everything she needs to flow through the dangerous and unique world.
Okay, this game's not bad.
As you journey to save your planet, you'll find yourself face to face with grotesque and violent creatures. Our combat system is simple, fast, and fluid, built to empower players and encourage flow. As you explore the Ultra Void, enemy encounters will scale to greater and greater sizes. Some of these creatures require speed and precise timing to defeat. Ray will eventually need to face the massive sentinels of this void. Wretched, starved beasts that hold the key to her quest.
Okay.
Solar Ash is Heart Machine's vision of the adventure platformer. The giant spaces,
I don't think I have
movement,
enough.
the flow of combat, and the high-stakes
All
battles
my games are
against
show.
enormous beasts all come together to bring players something we think is incredibly unique, and more importantly, fun. This game is a labor of love for everyone on the Heart Machine team. We're excited to bring Solar Ash to PS5 and PS4 later this year.
Okay.
If you're a fan of scary games, this next one is for you.
When I first found you, you were nothing. You were small, pathetic. But now, you are more.
Funny gameplay?
Are you ready?
Gameplay. Oh, Bandicoot. Oh my god. Oh! See Bandicoot going around the hole. Oh, your taste hole. Woo! This is amazing. Oh. Don't be this way.
Gregory, we can get you out of here. You and me together.
Ooh, oh, monkey. Yeah.
They won't stop hunting you. None of
Yeah.
them will stop hunting you.
Oh my god, this is what?
You out by
A ball pit.
You will do as I say.
Oh my god.
You will bring me what I want.
Anybody.
And if you fail me,
People are chasing him. Oh, we have a watch?
burn!
Oh. Son, what? What's he on? Staff? Oh. Let's go. Let's go.
There is more going on here than you realize.
Oh, no release date still. Who is... Oh my lord.
That was a chilling new look at Five
Yes.
Nights at Freddy's security breach. Up next, let's take a tour of Oddworld Soulstorm.
Okay. Oh, Lord, that's amazing. That's what
Hi,
we
I'm Lauren
needed.
Lambert, creative director
That's
at Oddworld
what we
Inhabitants.
needed.
Today, I'm going to take you on a brief tour of our newest game, Oddworld Soulstorm.
They've always known you would come. Do you know why you have?
In Soulstorm, you reprise the role of Abe, accidental hero turned unlikely leader of an emerging revolution. As you do battle through weird and wonderful environments in an effort to escape the all-powerful and eternally greedy Gluckons. We really wanted to bring this world to life with what we call 2.9D platforming, which adds much more depth and immersion for the player. This sense of connection is also reinforced through the use of the DualSense's haptic feedback, as you'll now be able to feel Abe's heartbeat in high alert and suspenseful situations. There are well over 1,000 Mudokons that you must try to save along the way, but they are far more than helpless workers looking to be saved. When used effectively, you'll be able to solve puzzles, harness their combined energy, and be given the tools they need to fight alongside you. And there will be times when the extra hands will be needed as you face off against an array of heavily armed enemies that will stop at nothing to find and end
Crazy.
Abe once and for all. In order to stand a chance against this much larger threat, we gave Abe the ability to scavenge, loot, and pickpocket items from his surroundings and use them to craft an impressive arsenal of his own that he can share with others. You can also play as a non-lethal pacifist or an agent of chaos. We wanted you to have.
I gotta see Doctor's reaction.
But there is one iconic ability for our shamanic protagonist, possession. This mystical power allows you to take control of your foes and use their strengths and weapons against them, or use them to gain access to paths still ahead.
You probably
the Oddworld universe is a diverse place, and this means that there are some environments and situations that require a little more thought, patience, and stealth. You'll find dark and dangerous caves, heavily guarded industrial sites, and ancient forgotten lands. Here, we've built lots of opportunities for you to test your skills and find different ways to handle things. It won't be easy. If being hunted by an army backed by a shady and wealthy organization isn't bad enough, there are also more dangers in the forms of natural obstacles, ancient traps, trials against swarming dark creatures, and industrial hazards that must be dodged, crossed, and avoided. Ultimately, Abe's journey is one of hope, freedom, and truth. There's a rich and engaging narrative to discover in a world full of lies, and we've been able to bring our characters to life like never before. In true Oddworld fashion, your actions in-game will decide the fate of Abe and all those you manage to liberate along the way, and we can't wait to see what you will do.
That was the latest on Oddworld Soulstorm. And here's some exciting news. Active PlayStation Plus members will get the PS5 version for no extra cost starting in April.
Oh my god. Oh, yes.
Moving on. It's time to catch up with Kena Bridge of Spirits, a gorgeous new adventure we last saw in the June PS5 showcase.
That was amazing. Oh my god. Okay. Oh, come on.
The rats seem quite
Why are you buffering?
They're usually timid.
Are you kidding me?
Something tells me you did not come to our village. Looking for forest creatures.
Oh, wow.
Hello, Spirit. I seek passage to the Sacred Mountain Shrine.
Our village is bound to the shrine's energy. But that power faded. Trapped spirits linger here, tangled in the tragedies of our past.
That's cool. Let's go.
You must help these spirits who wish to reach the mountains.
It's okay. You have to go now. This land can be healed, but you cannot stay here, Spirit. You must move on.
Oh my god, look at it. I want to show up, but
Path of a spirit guide is the only one.
okay.
Now let's settle in for a stylish new look at Deathloop, a PS5 first-person shooter developed by the team at Arcane.
Oh,
Cole.
What?
You'll never, ever break this loop.
There's no never here. Just you, me, and the rest of these maniacs.
Bring it, baby.
oh.
This is Ramblin' Frank's Matinee. This little ditty goes out to the handsome asshole trying to break our loop. Colt, the visionaries are ready to dance. Are you?
I don't know if I could like.
Toxic illusion, falling deeper spiral.
Okay.
Static delusion. This is where we do or die. And I've been here before, face to face with the gun. Up against all the odds, and I'm the only one. Oh, I've been here before. It must be true. The kill is always new.
Song's over, people. And so is Ramblin' Frank. The rest of you motherfuckers are next.
Okay. Agak sih dia. Okay.
Before we leave, how about a huge update for one of 2020's most celebrated games?
Well, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do our last one. Final Fantasy! Let's go! Final Fantasy 7!
Quickly!
Oh.
Give me a break.
Jesse! Barrett!
Where you been?
Tifa! Help me!
Come on! Let's
Okay.
push it past the red line! Now it's my turn! Got so little force right here!
Stop the rock! Stop the rock!
A touching reunion.
He's in Smash! He's in Smash now. You guys
The girl finally made it to Midgard.
My name is Yuffie, Materia Hunter and Elite Special Forces Operative for the new Wutai government. We'll prove to our common enemy that Wutai is not to be trifled with. Members of Avalanche, we got this.
I'm back.
Ah, there you are. Someone's been expecting you. What took you?
Sorry about that. Anyway, it's nice to meet you. I'm Sonon Kusakabe. Where's Clown?
We lost him.
You what?
He will be okay, though, right?
Well, of course he will.
They're the ones who blew up the reactors. Cool. Should we say hi?
No, better not. After what they've done, you gotta assume Shino's on their tail.
Look, a Moogle!
Stop!
You gotta help.
Oh. It's like a DLC. So it's a DLC, that's cool. That's cool, amazing.
No freaking way!
So no, it's a horrible boss game, but yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, I doubt. I said, hey, I doubt it will come out. Like if that happens, oh my god, like.
Whatever it is they're planning,
But yeah,
better off
that didn't happen.
They deserve what's coming to them.
Yeah, they do, but I'm not your sister.
There you are.
Who are these jerks?
No clue. It just appeared.
Yep.
Now, let the hunt begin.
Ooh.
Get down here, Merc.
Okay, graphics on PlayStation 5. Oh, yes. Oh yeah, crazy, the texture. That was quick. Oh, photo mode. Yep, new episode.
You see that?
That's how ninjas do it.
Yep.
That was the reveal of Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, coming to the PS5 console later this year. And that's our show. We hope you're as excited as we are for what's to come in 2021. See you next time.
Well, I think that's the end of the show. I'm happy, like, my biggest thoughts and happiness of it is the FNAF Security Breach. I'm really excited for it. I didn't meet any of them, sadly, but I remember playing them, and I loved it, so I'm excited to play it. I don't know when, but yeah. If you guys like this, I will see you guys next time. Thank you guys for watching the stream. Bye-bye.